Okay, so let's talk about today's agenda. It's really chill. It's me and friends, my clients and ProAdvisor friends, and anybody who's interested in learning about what's about to come down from Intuit. Okay, so we're gonna cover navigating the new UI, and UI stands for user interface. It's just a fancy word for layout, basically. And then for my ProAdvisor friends who are on the call, we're going to take a quick look at a feature called My Menu that ProAdvisors have access to. So users, businesses typically don't have that, but I'm just going to do a quick look there so that they know what to watch for. Then we'll talk about 3 other things that are new, and finally we'll wrap things up with questions. And my goal is really to familiarize you with this new layout. Change is never easy. It's uncomfortable, and you feel like you've lost your footing for a while. And I'm certainly feeling like that with the new UI, but hopefully I can give you some tips that are going to help you for sure. Okay, so let's get underway, navigating the new UI. All right, this is my current mood. And product manager, you could replace with Intuit, right? So everybody's all excited about AI. It's awesome. And as usual, Intuit's all about AI and being an early adopter, right? They want to be first to market with things. So this is kind of how I'm feeling about the whole thing right now. Now, it's inevitable, and we're going to get used to it, and things will improve over time. Right now, I would say it's a little bit rough. They rolled it out in the US a little bit ahead of Canada. So we're going to kind of see where this takes us. All right, AI won't replace humans, but humans using AI will. So like it or not, this is kind of where we're at for sure. Intuit is using something, or is going to be using something called agentic AI, and I'm going to read you a description of that. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it refers to autonomous artificial intelligence systems capable of setting goals, planning, and executing complex multi-step tasks with minimal human intervention, if you can believe that. Unlike traditional AI that primarily responds to commands, agentic AI, as they call it, possesses agency, meaning it can act independently to achieve a predetermined goal by learning from its environment and adapting its actions over time. So I don't exactly know what the future looks like. I think it's going to take us quite a bit of time, and I don't think AI is going to replace humans. But we need to start using these tools as they're being given to us. All right, so this redesigned interface, right now you can have early access. And as I let my clients know, I'm going to be turning this on in your files so that we can practice and get used to it. Now, it's going to be on for everybody in November, I believe. That's the present plan anyway. Sometimes Intuit likes to change their timelines, but the concepts are the same, so I don't want you to panic about different workflows or anything like that. It's really just navigation. It's the look of the layout and the navigation. And I just want to get you used to that, basically. Okay, so specifically, what does this look like for you? It is something called Intuit Apps. I'll get to that in just a minute. Customizable navigation, a smarter unified search, and AI agents eventually. Now, what's an AI agent, you ask? Well, right now, there are no functionalities or features being introduced for the early access program on the AI agent. So this visual update is basically paving the way for Intuit to introduce these powerful AI agents. So AI agents are in the different areas: finance agents, accounting agents, project management agents, payment agents, customer agents, marketing agents, payroll agents. They're supposedly going to do quite a bit of work for us in the back end. Now, again, is it replacing people? No, it's just going to help with suggestions and those kinds of things. So it'll be interesting to see when it starts rolling out. Now, right now, the initial phase is focused exclusively on just the new UI, so just the look and the feel of things. Those AI agents will be introduced in the months to come. Okay, so just to refresh your memory, here's what most of you are used to looking at, or what you are looking at right now. So what I want to do before we even get started, I'm going to ask you a question. On which page do you spend the most time when you're logged onto QuickBooks? So this could be a center or a list or a report. Tell me where you spend your most time right now in QuickBooks. Where do you go mostly when you're in QuickBooks. And I'm just going to take a look at the answers here. Okay, bank feed, chart of accounts. Okay, that's great. Reports, banking and reports, invoices and reports, customers, suppliers, bank feed reports, bank payroll reports, invoicing. So we can see that everybody uses it a little bit differently, right? Pro advisors use it differently than clients, than an AR person, than an AP person, than a CEO or an executive director. Somebody said all of the above. Roberto said all of the above. Totally true. Okay, so right now you've gotten used to this left navigation bar. And here's what it's going to look like. Thanks for answering that poll. And by the way, I'm actually going to shut off my camera, I think, and we're just going to concentrate on the screen. Okay, so current view, and then I have screenshotted the new view with sort of a little tour in case we don't encounter that little tour because I've been toggling this on and off so often. So you're greeted right at the top. It's so lovely. Good morning, Marnie. And that black left navigation bar has been replaced with a very skinny left navigation bar with some icons and whatnot. And we see all these icons across the top. And this, I'm going to show you 3 pages here. This is the first of 3. So find all your apps in one place. So this is one of the changes, is that QuickBooks, I don't know why. I wish they were called widgets or centers or something like that, but they've decided to call them apps, which is really confusing because a lot of you use traditional apps like Dext or Pluto or Telpay or what have you, right? So classically, that's what I consider an app, an external third-party app, but QuickBooks has now taken over the word app to talk about all these different centers. Okay, so that's the first thing, and it says find all your apps in one place. And incidentally, we're in the dashboard on this screenshot. We're in the dashboard of a client user view. So Pro Advisors, this is not your view going in through the QBOA dashboard. This is your client's view. Okay, so then page 2 of 3 says access to bank transactions, invoices, and more. Get to all the apps you need to run your business efficiently. Again, there's that use of the word apps. And then finally, page 3 of 3 is this is the search bar, get anywhere in QuickBooks right from search. So this is a pretty cool change, actually, the search, and we'll look at that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into a live demo in a sample company file. So let me just pull that up for everybody. Okay, so here we are in a file called By the Yard. Now, the accountant user and the primary admin can make this the choice in the gear menu to try this new experience. And if you're hating it, try not to. Try to get used to it because it's not going to be optional in the next few weeks, right? It's going to be on for everybody. In fact, I think they're starting to have it on for new signups. So you might as well get used to it now. I'm going to try to help you navigate. But if you are really like, I don't have the time right this second, you can totally turn it off and then you can turn it back on. And QuickBooks will ask you why you're turning it off. It's really important. They're really watching for feedback about this. They're getting tons of feedback about the things we like and we don't like so much. So do switch back if you want to, provide feedback, and then switch again when you want to. And at some point, it will be switched on and you won't have this option anymore. So that's from the gear menu. Okay. So notice this skinny left navigation bar, which is really lovely. And then we have the search bar across the top. And then we have some icons over here. I'm not going to go over everything, but you still have the gear menu, which really hasn't changed at all, okay? Mostly what's changed is that left navigation bar, which we're going to go into. So this is the dashboard. So when you open QBO, this is where you come. This is how you're greeted. I am going to hide the financial information on the dashboard, so it's not so much visually to have to take in, because I personally am finding it really, really busy. So I'm just going to turn that off just for a little zen for just a moment. And let's talk about these apps across the top, okay? So they call them apps. They're different centers that you're used to. Accounting, expenses and pay bills, sales and get paid, customers, team, which is payroll, basically. It's your employees. It's not payroll because there's actually a payroll app as well. Projects, if you have that turned on, inventory, if you have it turned on, sales tax, and then finally payroll. It has the diamond because it's not turned on in this file. So these are all of the so-called apps across the top. It's not customizable. These stay fixed. Now, underneath that, you can see that there's some create actions. QuickBooks has suggested the following: get paid online, create invoice. That's cool. It's a quick link. So anytime you click any of these, it's going to take you right to that task. Now, over on the show all, you're going to get the drawer sliding in from the right-hand side. And what you can do is you can actually customize this. So you can select up to 10. So maybe I don't want to get paid online. I definitely create invoices, expenses, bank deposits, and checks, but I also want to do a recurring sales receipt or create a statement or add a supplier. So there are a lot of options here in all of the different apps that you can add to this create actions, up to 10. So we'll click save, and you can see now that you have customized this. Now, this isn't the only place to customize, so I just don't want you to get too hung up on this dashboard quite yet. We'll go over everything, and then you can decide for yourself what makes the most sense. Okay, now, here is business at a glance, and I'm just going to turn this back on. This is a customizable dashboard that you can click this little widget here, and you can customize the layout by adding or removing widgets. So over on the right, that drawer slides in from the right. You can add or remove, and then you can also do something pretty cool. You can slide the order. So you just drag and drop them. You're basically just re-nesting them. So this is handy if you like to come to the dashboard and you hang out on the dashboard. Now, I never hang out on the dashboard. Some of you might, but typically pro advisors are not spending a ton of time here. Now, business owners might like this page, so I'm just going to click save here, and just know that you can come here and customize this if that's going to give you any bang for your buck. And again, all I did to hide this was click hide the financial with that little I. So if you're working in Starbucks or something like that, you can keep it secret, keep it hidden. All right, let me show you what happens when we're going to go back up to the top, and we're going to click on, for example, accounting. So watch the left navigation bar when I click accounting. We get a secondary menu bar. And this to me is like, whoa, this is a lot to take in, right? So now I'm no longer in the dashboard. I have now moved to bank transactions because it's the first thing in the accounting app, okay? Now, all of these apps here are expandable and collapsible, as you can see. But I feel like this is somewhat cluttered. So notice that you've got this little, it looks like a hamburger, and if you click on it, it hides that second dashboard or left navigation bar. So you're just clicking on that hamburger. Now I want to show you, because it feels like you're lost at this point. You're like, wait a second, let me go back to the dashboard. So you can do two things. You can click on the dashboard. Here we are, okay? And then there's another way to get back to your dashboard. Let me just go back to accounting for a moment. So the other way to go back to your dashboard really quickly is by clicking Intuit QuickBooks if you're the user in the file. Pro advisors, that doesn't apply to you. That's going to take you back to your QBOA dashboard. So it takes a minute. It's not the fastest way to get there. So clicking dashboard is probably the fastest. Okay. So we know that if we click on any of those apps in the dashboard, I get this secondary menu. Now, I just feel like it's so much clutter on the left, so I'm going to just close that, and I want to show you that you have this My Apps. So all I need to do is I need to hover over My Apps, and I can look into accounting and see all of the submenus, or submenus, I guess, as it stands here. So I'm 3 levels deep. It's kind of it takes a little getting used to. So expenses and bills, here's our options: sales and get paid, customer hub, our team, which is our employees, projects, inventory, tax, which is just sales tax. It is not also payroll tax. That's held under the payroll tab if you have payroll turned on. So for me, I don't want to go back to the dashboard and click on accounting and then try to work from this menu. I can if I want to, for sure, but I think for me, I would probably be much faster if I start in My Apps, go to the submenu, and then go to the submenu. Okay, but we're going to keep going because there's many, many ways to customize this, and what I want you to walk away with today is a way to set this up for you, a custom experience for you, so that you're going to spend the least amount of time fussing and navigating and trying to find things in QuickBooks Online that seem to be lost. Okay, so what we have in the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to go through this menu now, is the Create menu. This used to be the plus new menu. It really hasn't changed. It's exactly the same. So it is at the upper left-hand side, and a lot of you probably use this menu. This is really a lot of your daily tasks. So a lot of the things you're going to be doing, creating an invoice, a sales order. Sales orders are available now in QuickBooks, which is very awesome. Expenses, checks, paying bills, all those kinds of things, bank deposit, are held in the Create menu like they were in the plus new menu. So all good there. I'm going to come back to bookmarks. This is one of my very favorite things that I want to talk to you about in more detail. We know that the dashboard takes us back to that sort of landing page. And then there's a link directly to reports, which is really handy for those of you that spend the most time in the reports. You can absolutely access it here. Now in the My Apps, again, you get the sub menu and then you choose from what you want to look at. Okay, underneath that are, as if we don't have enough places to see these apps, and that's, I guess my general feeling is like, why are there so many places for these apps now? Whereas there used to be like maybe 1 or 2 ways to access things. It's like they've just thrown the kitchen sink at us with all of these apps everywhere. So these are what's called pinned apps, and these are going to be your favorite apps. So what you want to do is click the Customize button, and I'm not quite getting there. Just give me a second, because that's an annotate, and I think that's an overlay from Zoom. But there's a little Customize down there. Hopefully everybody can see it. So if you click on Customize, you can drag and drop to reorder your apps, and you can pin your top 3 apps for easy access. So, for example, if I was more concerned about the sales and getting paid, I might want to drag that to the top. And maybe my focus is payroll if I had it on, so I would pin team and drag it to the top. Sales tax is always a big one for me, so I'm going to maybe turn off expenses and pay bills, for example, and I'm going to pin tax and move it to the top here. Inventory's at the bottom because I don't have it on. Maybe I don't even do payroll, so I could put that at the bottom too. So you can see that you can customize this, and I would literally suggest you take the 1 minute to do this and just reorder them. You can't get rid of them. I wish you could. To me, it's visual clutter. I wish I could hide them. You can't, so you might as well use it to your benefit, okay? So again, for this pinned section here, you're just gonna click Customize. Now, I just want to pause and tell you, is Intuit going to change? You bet they will. The AI agents are going to be coming out. You will see those in the dashboard. So underneath the Create Actions, you'll have a whole section that talks about all those AI agents. So this is definitely just in its beginning stages, and it will evolve. They will change things based on people's and users' feedback. They will improve it. They're going to grow it. So you can always expect change with Intuit, right? We know this, but this is a pretty substantial change in itself, hence the reason we're having a webinar today. Okay, let's go back to that left navigation bar, because what I want to talk about is, is the bookmarks. All right, so this is where I think that you can all really customize your QuickBooks UI experience to get the most out of it and to move around faster. So we can add bookmarks in a few ways. For example, myself personally, I like to spend a lot of time, so I'm gonna go to accounting, in bank transactions. So notice that when I navigate through my sub-menus, I have this little bookmark, and all I have to do is select that bookmark, and that automatically saves that as a bookmark. So now I just hover over bookmarks, and now there's bank transactions. Now, let's just say that I, a lot of times, want to look at my suppliers menu, which is the case for me, right? I want to see the suppliers menu. I'm going to bookmark that as well. We did have bookmarks in the old experience, so some of you will have used this and will be familiar with this, but I love bookmarks. I absolutely love them, and I'm totally suggesting that you use them. So you can see that we can add and remove bookmarks from these different tasks. Now, here's something else we can do. Let's say that you are constantly looking at your profit and loss. Now, remember, this is a fake company. The numbers in here don't make any sense. And I pulled up the balance sheet. That's totally fine. We'll work with the balance sheet. Now, what you want to do for the reports is you want to pick a period. So if you want it as of today, that's fine. But oftentimes it'll be, show me this for last month. So we're going to select last month, and it's going to load. And then what we can do is go to the bookmarks menu and bookmark the current page. Okay, so see how I did that is I navigated to where I spend time. I go to the bookmarks menu and I bookmark my current page. Now, oh, this worked. Yesterday, it was giving me some kind of gibberish and I had to rename it, but today, balance sheet looks good. I'm gonna click save. Let's do a profit and loss for good measure, because that's the one that was giving me some naming trouble yesterday. So we'll see what happens, and we'll do this year to last month, or this fiscal year to last month, or whatever you wanna have here. And we will bookmark this. Oh, and it says profit and loss. Excellent. Okay, so the test here, I'm going to go back to the dashboard just for a moment. The test here is to see if those reports actually save the correct date option. So let's take a look at our profit and loss. And it didn't. Okay, so there's a bug. I would say that that's a bug because if I save a report, I want my date ranges saved too. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to switch. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. So that's just one little hiccup. You can bookmark profit and loss, but for right now, it looks like you're going to have to go to the report and then toggle the dates. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Not what I would have expected, but that's how it's working. Now, I will give feedback later on that because I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be sticky is what they call it. So it saves the settings. Let's save a few more. Let's say that, in fact, let's do this. Let's go back to our dashboard just to reset and notice that, remember when I reordered the appearance of my apps, it flows through to the dashboard, okay? So whatever I do down here on customize flows through here. So hopefully that's the way you want it. If you don't, you can come back here and you can change it however you want and then pin those 3 favorites. Okay. So again, when I start in the dashboard and click accounting, it's going to open the menu. Now, this is sticky because the full second menu is not opening. So all I have to do is just click that little hamburger again to get it to slide in or collapse and expand. Let's talk about the different selections within each of these apps. So under accounting, we have our banking center, bank transactions. We have integration transactions. This is a lot of the external apps and their connectors, so you can connect to Squarespace, Wix, etc. Receipts is going to be receipt capture. Now, most of you, a lot of you, are probably going to be using Dext or HubDoc or something like that. QBO has a very basic internal app receipts program, not an app, sorry, an internal receipts program. You can use it. I have a very few amount of clients using it. It's really for smaller businesses, but it's nice because you can upload from the computer, upload from Google Drive, forward from email to get this into the receipts here. Okay, reconcile is under the accounting. Your bank rules also live under the accounting. Chart of accounts. Now, some of you want to be on the chart of accounts quite often. You can go ahead and bookmark that if you need to. Then our recurring transactions list. And then finally, my accountant. I'm actually currently really not using this with any of my clients. I just find it's still a little bit clunky, but maybe they'll make some improvements to this area. So that's what you find under accounting. Now, under sales and get paid is the overview. We start with the overview. And I want to show you something in the upper right-hand corner. This is what I think they're calling Zen mode. So if you click this, watch what happens to the left-hand side. It hides everything, so you have more real estate for the task that you're working on. Now, this isn't available everywhere. It's available in banking, in the sales overview, and a couple other places. So your mileage may kind of vary with that Zen mode that you can toggle on and off. So this is our sales overview. We have sales transactions. So this is a list of all your transactions. You've got filters and sorting capabilities. Let's just release that. We've got invoices, sales orders. So this is a way to create a sales order. These are new. If you want to use sales orders, it's excellent that they have finally added this. We've been begging for it for a number of years. QuickBooks payouts, products and services list. So that's under sales and get paid. And you can see here something went wrong. Interesting. So I can go about it the old-fashioned way. I can go to my gear menu, and I can go to my products and services menu here. And oddly, I'm just going to refresh my QBO entirely because that's a little bit weird that we're getting that error message. There we go. So here's the products and services menu. Okay. Let's just collapse that. Now, under tax, this is your sales tax center. So when you click on overview, you're going to your sales tax center. Under expenses and bills, we have expense transactions. So that is a list of your expense transactions. And from within a lot of these centers, you can create new transactions over on the right-hand side. We have our suppliers list, bills that you can review, and mileage is available here as well, although I don't have any clients using mileage. It's also available indexed. A lot of people have their own ways to track, but it is available here if you're interested in exploring. As for the customer hub, we have the overview. Now, this gets into some sophisticated like funnels, leads, all those kinds of things. So if you want to spend time here, it can definitely be worth it. There's some new functionality coming. The agents might get to work in this area as well. So feel free to check this out. We've got our customer list. I often like to see the customer list, so I like to bookmark this too. Estimates if you use them. So this is your list of estimates. And then reviews. So this is a way, reviews question is off. I think this is live in the States right now. It will be coming, but it's a follow-up basically with your customers where they can provide you with reviews. It's pretty interesting and definitely worth exploration, but I'm not going to say much more about it today because I don't know much more about it. Then we have projects, the project center, if it happens to be turned on. I know a few of my clients are using projects and might want to bookmark that. Then inventory, if you're using inventory, we've got inventory, purchase orders, sales orders. Team, as I said, that's employees if it's turned on. And then finally payroll if it's turned on, including payroll taxes. So payroll tax does not live under tax, only sales tax lives under tax, if that makes sense. All right, so let's close that second menu because I don't want to be working in QBO having that second menu open. I really just don't. So for me anyway, I feel like I'm going to sort of get this set up in the beginning. I'm going to set my bookmarks. I'm going to pin what I want and I'm going to close this and I'm basically never going to open it again. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I can always go back to the dashboard to see those things and I can hover over the My Apps. But the best way is to set those bookmarks up for yourself. Now that I've started to use bookmarks, let's go ahead and click either the pencil here or the pencil here. We're going to edit the bookmarks. This takes you to the Customize Your Bookmarks menu. Now, in addition to how we added bookmarks, you can come through this list and you can cherry pick the bookmarks that you want to have on, and then you can sort it. So maybe you like to have it in alphabetical order. I find that I have so many bookmarks. I don't have a ton, but I have enough, right? That I like to put it in alphabetical order. It could also be how you use it. So if you're in the banking most of the time, nest that at the top by all means, right? So it's totally up to you how you customize those bookmarks. But I'm highly recommending that this is how you're going to navigate QBO, is you're going to create your own customized dashboard. Now, that is individual for you. So what I do does not affect the users in a company file, right? And what you do does not affect other users in the company file. It's a completely personalized experience. Now, when it comes to the UI experience overall, that's on for everybody or off for everybody. You can't have some users opting into the new UI experience and some users not opting in. Everybody's either in or out. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of that. And finally, let's talk about the search for a minute. This is a very cool new functionality. And you'll notice that when I click on it, it tells you right at the top, smarter, better, faster search. You can now search for transactions using phrases, actually. Estimates from April banks, over $500 this year. So you can search with phrases, which is really very cool. And you can search with just terms. So if I, for example, entered the word bank, let's just try bank. You can see that I can go to bank rules, create a bank deposit, bank transactions, link accounts, and there's 7 more. Then it will show me the recent transactions. There's also a supplier in this file called TD Bank, so it's showing me that I can go directly to that contact. Ledger accounts, that would take me to the chart of accounts, and then help topics. So this has greatly expanded, and you can really zero in on results much quicker. So I'm gonna try a phrase. Let's do invoices over $25,000. And we'll click enter. And it's a little slow, but here you go. So it's given me the expanded advanced search page, and it's already filtered for these invoices over $25,000. So I really encourage you to start using that help menu. Here's some other ways you can use it. And I don't know that I would find a result here, but maybe you bought a printer and you know for sure that you put printer in the description. Type the word printer in, and maybe it's going to show you the transaction where you use that, or a person's name, or whatever. If you don't know the criteria to search for example, in a supplier list or a customer list, try some other terms to see if you can get a result that way. It does work really great. So I am very happy with what they've done with the help menu for sure. Now, just briefly, I'll just talk to you a little bit about these widgets on the right. This is a task menu if you're using, I think it's if you're using QuickBooks Online Advanced. No, that's not right. I'm not sure at which level you would have tasks, but this is a task menu if you want to try it out. This is where you're going to find your traditional apps. They're now called integrations. Okay, so Intuit has taken that word away from everybody, and they're saying those are going to be called integration. So these are actually apps that I have integrated with this file. And then after that is notifications. That's just a little notification where if Intuit has announcements or anything to share, they will put it there. So that's that little bell. And if it's got a red dot, you'll know that you've got a new notification. The gear menu, we talked about this quite a bit. And then the help menu, which you can definitely use the help menu if you want. This is actually new to me, this assistant. I have not seen this yet. Maybe it's just me. Typically, I'm used to the search functionality, but look at that. There's some more AI for you there. Okay, so let's go back to our dashboard by clicking the word dashboard. All right, I'm just going to pause for a moment and see if there's any questions. I know there's quite a few things in the chat. I don't probably have time to go scan back through them, but I'm seeing the comments, yes. And Ashley, thank you for being on the webinar, Ashley. Ashley works with me at Accounting Loft, as a lot of you know. She says she's been using bookmarks a lot with this update. There are late fees. So Marco has asked about late fees. So if you have the new UI, so you have to have turned this on, you are now going to have the ability in the account and settings. I'm going to show you right now. So if anyone's interested in late fees, you're going to turn on the new UI, click the gear menu, go to account and settings. And what you're going to want to do is go into your sales from the left navigation bar. Scroll down just a little bit. You know what? Where did I see this? Sorry, I just saw this yesterday. Is it in advance? No, it's not. No, it's not. What's happening? Oh, that's really interesting. I literally just checked for this yesterday, Marco, and saw it. So I'm going to say our mileage may vary at this moment, but where I recall seeing it is in sales, and there's like a whole late fee section. It's called late fees. If I have the chance, I wonder. Okay, let's just put a pin in that just for a minute. I'll come back to it. Remind me if I forget, but there is a way to work with late fees if you've got the new UI. Oh, I know what it is. Sorry, it just came to me. It's the new invoicing experience. Let's check this file and let's go to an invoice. Okay, I'm going to get to this in just a minute, okay? But I promise you, I'm going to come back to it. So there is a way, and I'm going to show you. Okay, and Jillian says, I like that the bookmarks are under their own pop-out menu since I found the left sidebar gets really crowded when all bookmarks and all regular items are always visible. Yeah, I think it's funny because in one way, the clutter is reduced, right? Like this is a less cluttered view than our current experience. But if you click into the the apps, this is really cluttered to me. Like there's no way I could work in my file with that second left navigation bar open. And I feel like probably a lot of you feel the same about that. Like that is just a little too much, right? Zen mode alert, by the way, this is bank transactions, your banking center. So if you click that little mode there, it gets rid of all the stuff on the left-hand side. Okay, let's take a little detour. It's only going to take me a couple minutes, but this one is for the pro advisors. So let me just go back to my deck for a moment here. And we're going to talk about the pro advisor menu for just a moment. Now I'm going to show you a couple screenshots first, and then we're going to just do a couple minutes demo. So now I'm in that same file as the accountant user, and you will notice, I'm going to turn on my laser pointer, that you have my menu in the top left. So that's above the create. Now I just advanced my slide. I didn't mean to do that. So there's my menu. Now, when you click on it and then you don't stay hovering, but you click on it and you kind of move away, you'll see this customize widget here. Okay, so when you click the customize widget, that allows you to customize your menu. So you have 3 sections, basically: bookmarks, create, and tools. And then you can customize accordingly. So let's take a look at that actually in the file. And just before we do that, a few tips. You click on my menu and then click the customize widget. There's the 3 sections. They can be reordered. Whatever you set up in the left nav bookmarks is what's going to appear in my menu bookmarks. So what you do to one changes the other. It's the same thing. They're just nested in 2 places. They're both in their own bookmarks menu and they're in your my menu. Okay, that was a little confusing at first, but they are mirror images of one another. I personally like to nest the tools at the top, kind of to mimic the old experience, but it's totally what works best for you. So let's check it out in a different file that I've got here. Let me just slide it over. And by the way, you're going to get some of this pop-up messaging as accountant users or regular users. It's going to want to walk you through a tour. Take the time and just check it out. This says introducing the reimagined interface of the Intuit platform, which is what they're calling it. So let's click explore what's new. And then it takes you to those 3 things that I showed you earlier. So this kind of comes and goes. If you're turning things on or off or coming and going, you might get those pop-ups. Okay, so here we are in our QBOA accessed client file. There's the My menu at the top. Now notice if I hover over it, I don't see that customized. So what you have to do is you have to actually click on it, and there you can see the customize. You see what I'm saying? So if you hover, it disappears. This is weird. They really need to kind of fix the functionality here, the developers, because it's tricky. It's just weird and fussy. So you can't be hovering. You've got to have clicked on it and then get away from it and then click that little customize widget. So here we are. We could do bookmarks first, create, or tools. I'm going to put tools at the top. And then when you go to your bookmarks, here's where you can customize your bookmarks. And again, what you do here goes to the bookmarks, and what you do there goes to these bookmarks. They're the same thing, basically. Not sure what's happening with all these blanks here. It's just being funny today. And then you've got your create menu. So you can select what you want here for your create menu. You've got lots of options. And then you've got your tools. Now, with these, you might think, oh, I'm going to click this off and I'm going to click the X. Don't do that. Scroll to the bottom and look for that save menu. Don't miss that. I did that a couple times and I'm like, why didn't it change anything? Oh, because I have to scroll all the way down and look for the save. So just remember to do that. Okay, so just a little bit of a different experience for pro advisors where you have that My menu and you can customize that accordingly. So Oh, it didn't even take the changes. See, I forgot to do it. So in my sections, I think I needed to do that as well. Oh, look, there you go. Why did they have all of this white real estate? I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. Okay, I'm gonna click save and then that should work. There you go. So now all of my tools that I want are across the top. Here's one I would get rid of right away is write-off invoices. We never use that feature in Canada. Well, we don't never use it, but if you have sales tax, you never want to use that. Okay, click save. Okay, so that's the ProAdvisor experience. So I'm going to go back to our presentation and we're going to move on to a couple other things. We're going to get to those late fees, they're coming. So we're going to talk about what else is new. So it's not just the UI dashboard, although that's the biggest, one of the biggest, most obvious changes. So here's a few things that you might already be trying out or you might have tried and switched back. Anyway, they're in flux. So there's a new banking page. You might already have this activated. There is new invoicing. And if you turn on the new invoicing, this is where you get the late fee option. I'm going to demo that in just a moment. And then finally, reports. There has been much ado about the reports. So basically, Intuit told us last year, we have to retire classic reports. It is an entire section. We can't just improve it. Basically, we have to entirely replace it. And I feel like it probably has something to do with this new UI as well. But they originally said classic reports are gone at the end of the year. And that was after a couple delays. Oh, it's going to be, the end of October. It's going to be the end of November. Then the last, 2024, they were going to be gone. They're still not gone. I don't know really what's going on. You can toggle back and forth still between most reports, but the goal, according to Intuit, is that classic reports is going away and modern reports are going to replace it. So we're kind of in this weird space where you're getting some of one and some of the other, you're flopping back and forth, and it's confusing for everybody. So just a heads up on that. Now, let's go back into our file, and I'm going to go into the user experience, not the QBOA accessed file. But here we are in the bank. Now let's just click that hamburger. Whew, some breathing space. I honestly just feel like it's too much. It's too much to look at visually. I've got to close that second menu. Okay, so you may notice the new AI-powered banking page is coming soon. It streamlines your workflows with inline editing, fewer clicks, and powerful AI guidance tuned to your business. See what's new. So you can click this hyperlink and read about it if you want, and we can try it out. So before we do that, let's just refamiliarize ourselves with what this currently looks like. This is our banking center, which I love. It works great. I didn't want any changes. However, let's try it out and see what we get. Okay, so the blue's gone away on the tiles. They are slowly bringing some colors back because they heard that people like that. This is a little bit different. It's a little bit of a brain buster at first to kind of get used to it, but this is what the new UI looks like. It's on for some clients. It's not on for other clients. I'm not getting really fussed about this right now. I can use both and go back and forth between both. I'm not sure, but I think this is also company-wide. Like if I say, yes, we're going to use the new banking center, then you're all going to be using the banking center, right? Like I think that's the functionality with all these new centers, basically. So this is new bank transactions. You can try it out if you want to and get used to it. Now, for my clients, a lot of you are only in the bank feed to kind of look at things. You're not actually using the bank feed. ProAdvisors were actually using the bank feed, so it's a little bit trickier for sure. But I think they're making improvements. They've added some color. I'm hoping it will get easier. Okay, I'm not going to spend a ton of time more there. We're going to move on to invoicing. Okay, so what I do to get to invoicing is I'm going to go to the create menu and click invoice. That's one way, right? It's kind of like two steps. I hover over this menu, I make the choice. If it was a bookmark, I would hover over bookmarks and I would choose invoice. I can go to my apps, I can go to my I'm getting used to the sales and getting paid and invoice. So you don't want to go that way because it's more steps, right? So you want to try to find the fastest path to the task you want to use. Okay, so let's go here. Oh, there's also keyboard shortcuts, everybody. Did you know that? Let me tell you that if you click Control Alt question mark on a PC, Control Alt question mark, then you're going to get your company ID, and you're also going to get a list of shortcuts, which is really handy if you like to memorize shortcuts. So that's another way that you can navigate your way around a QuickBooks file. Okay, so that's Control Alt question mark. So we could do Control Alt I, and that's going to take me to an invoice. Isn't that handy? Okay, so this is the current or traditional layout. We're going to click on Update Layout. Now watch how different this looks. Just give it a minute here to change. And again, it's just a lot to digest at first. You can take a tour if you want. I would say one of the main things about this is it's a more intuitive layout. So it's kind of like what you see is what you get. You're kind of previewing it as you're creating it. And then there's a bunch of other manage invoice options over on the right-hand side. So again, this was supposed to be rolled out like a year ago for sure. It might have even been 2 years ago that we were talking about this, and they just, it's on for some people, but not for everybody. But the great thing about this is if this experience is on, and we're going to just close that. And who asked me about the late fees? Marco. So Marco, this one's for you. Gear menu, account and settings, sales, and there's the late fees section, okay? So you can toggle that on, and then you can look at all the different options. So that's really handy. It's not tied to the UI. I was thinking in my brain that they were tied together. It's tied to the new invoicing experience. So those are the late fees. Kind of nice if you need to do late fees. People have been asking for that feature as well for quite some time. Okay, lastly is those reports that I mentioned. So let's go to a standard report. And we could do a profit and loss by month, for example. So it's totally up to the whim of QuickBooks, like what I'm going to get when I actually run this report. Is it going to open in Modern or is it going to open in Classic? Well, it opened in Modern this time. Now, it's this year to date, and sometimes if you switch to Classic, which you can totally do, you can toggle back and forth between them, but you can and will lose the date settings, okay, or any other customization. So you don't want to be switching back and forth too much because you basically lose everything that you have customized or the dates. And then we could switch back to Modern View again. In this case, it seems to be preserving this year to date. But if I said this fiscal quarter, let's just try. I feel like my experience has been that if you switch to Classic View, see, it changes to this year to date. So you don't want to be switching back and forth too much. Now, for some reports, it's really funny because you'll go in here. Let's try what report was I looking for? Oh, I know. Let's go to our sales tax center. So this is handy. This is a handy app, pinned app, because it's one click, it's a single click. And isn't that brilliant? This is one of the only single click places that will take you a place. I wish there was more of those because everything seems to be like 2 or 3 clicks. Okay, if I open a taxable sales summary, if you don't know what this report is, you don't need to worry about this report. My experience has been with some of these sales tax reports, they'll start to open in Modern and then they will automatically on their own switch to Classic View. I'm not sure if you've seen that happening. But again, we're kind of in this weird in between where they haven't retired the Classic View. And I don't think Modern reports are quite up to the quality of Classic View reports yet. So they're getting there. So those 3 areas, try them out: banking page, invoicing, and reports. And I'm just curious you can comment you can comment. Would you be interested in more webinars like today on these and other topics? I'm just curious if you would find any benefit in that whatsoever. If you want to know about the new banking page or invoicing or what have you. So A few of you are saying yes, so that's good to know. All right, so I'm going to now, 152, I'm going to ask if there's any questions, because I was rolling through that without really watching the chat at all. So if you did have a question and I missed it, if you wouldn't mind just writing it in again so that I can see it, so that I don't have to scroll. I'm happy to answer questions on the UI platform or any other varied questions you might have at this time. And if you feel like you've gotten everything you need out of this, I hope that you have a great day, and I thank you for joining, and I'm going to stick around for a few minutes to answer questions. All right, so I'll just hold off. And this is QuickBooks Canada, Marco, but the UI has been released in the States. They were probably a month or two ahead of us, and they already have some of those AI agents available. So if you were to go to a US file, I'm just going to go here and look at that dashboard, they have an area under the Create Actions that's kind of more about those AI agents. And I'm not entirely sure what they're going to get up to. They're not going to take people's jobs away. They're just going to assist. They have like business networks and other interesting and creative uses of those AI agents. I think that they are more applicable in the States right now just due to the functionality of the US program compared to ours. But as many of you probably know, QuickBooks has taken this global by design approach. So if you opened up a US file, you would be very familiar immediately with what it looks like, because it basically looks like almost identical to ours with some maybe feature gaps and spelling, but the workflows, the look, the layout is pretty much identical. Okay, so questions. You are very welcome, everybody. I'm really happy that you could join. And yes, reach out to me on email. My email is marnie@thinkquickbooks.com. I can pop that into the chat for anybody that doesn't have that. I think you all have that. So I just popped that into the chat. Jillian says, sorry if I missed this, but how do you get the new invoicing module to turn on? Yours is still the old one. Well, hopefully, Jillian, when you go to invoice, because this is the only way I know how to do it, you're going to be able to toggle between the old layout and the new layout. So let me just click over to the old layout, and I'm going to switch the old layout. Now, it's going to ask me why I'm doing this, and I actually often will say, it's too much on my eyes, or the font's too small, or there's too much real estate, or too much wasted space. I'm just going to say I don't have time to learn the new layout, but be honest, because they do look at that feedback really specifically right now. They're looking at the feedback. So hopefully you have this little blue update layout in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, Brenda, is there integration for Square processing systems or just Squarespace? Square has an integration, but it's very basic. So what it does is it will create a sales receipt tied to a single product and service. So you can't really use it if you're doing invoicing in QuickBooks, you can't use it. It won't talk to who the payment's coming from. And you can bring over names, I believe, if you're doing an integration, but it's not a receivable situation. So it's basically, you can connect with the Square integration. It will bring every sale that you make in as a sales receipt, as a new sale, basically. So it won't talk to an open invoice. Let's go into, and where did I see that again? I'm forgetting. Oh my goodness. See, it was in one of these apps. Oh yes, there it is. Accounting integration transactions. Oh my goodness. It was easier when it was called apps, when they didn't take over that word. So there's Squarespace. Yeah, these are, I don't know why it's only these 6 integrations, but there is definitely a Square integration. It just probably doesn't do what you want it to do. I wish it did. It would be awesome if it did. And if there was any point at which you didn't need the info in QBO, the invoices in QBO, then you could use that because you'd have all that information in sync. But if you're doing invoicing, then it gets really tricky. There was actually somebody asking about that in one of the QuickBooks, or one of the Facebook forums the other day. Okay, Zaria, I hope I'm saying your name right. Sorry if I missed this. If you customize the dashboard and layout of apps within a client's files, do those customizations show up when you switch companies? Oh, great question. No. I wish I had a great answer. No, you have to actually, like if I switch to another company that has this on, nothing is copied. So I can't like save my bookmarks and have that apply to all my clients. Maybe they're going to go there with that. I really wish they would, because honestly, I pretty much do the same tasks. Like there would be 5 bookmarks that I would have across all my clients. And then maybe I'd have some custom ones, but sure would be handy if I could do that. And right now, that's not the case. I'm not sure if I'm sending out the recording. Actually, yes, I think it, I think it recorded. I think I had it set to automatically record. It might not have. So to be determined. I don't know at this point. Sorry. Megan says Dext is great with Square to QBO, Dext Commerce. Yes, Dext used to be green something. I used it for a US client before Dext bought it, and it was an greenback. Thank you. It's awesome. But can you connect it so that it links a payment, so that it recognizes that a payment coming in is Square should be tied to a particular invoice or invoices, Laurel? That's the challenge, I think. I wonder if it does that. If you happen to know, definitely let me know. Okay. I think I've got to all the questions. I'm just going to leave it open for 1 or 2 more minutes. There's still quite a few people, so this is your chance. If you have any questions whatsoever, they can be about anything. I'm happy to answer, as you know. Okay, you're very welcome. It looks like we're probably going to be wrapping things up, so I hope you have a wonderful October. Fall has been beautiful so far, and I will see you probably on email or on another webinar. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much, and Gabriel, you can go ahead and take over sharing if you'd like. Thanks again, everybody.